Hey guys, okay, working on this 2019 Wacker Neuson WL32. Going to be replacing the high pressure filter on it today. I've got another video I'm making right now on replacing the front and rear axle. That's going to be a separate video. It will be up before this one, so you should be able to see it there under playlist WL32 on my channel. But this will be the high pressure filter. So let's show you guys where it is first. I'm not going to show you unscrewing it because it's hard to hold the camera where this is, and this machine is soaking wet right now. But that's it right there. Hopefully you can see that. You can see it's got a 36 millimeter nut on the bottom, which is part of the housing itself. And so we're just going to unscrew that to the left, and there's a filter in there which we will replace, and we'll check to see the condition of the O-ring as well. So I'm basically just going to take that out and then I'll show it to you when we get on the bench. One thing you're going to want to do first is release the pressure on the hydraulic system. So in this machine it's super easy to do that. Just move your controls down to the right, make sure your bucket and all that's down, and then turn the ignition on and press this button right here, and this releases the pressure on the hydraulic system, which I've already done. So let me get that filter out. Okay, so I just want to show you guys this. This is the filter. So I unscrewed it. It's got quite a bit of thread, so it's well made. And this thing is like heavy. It's heavy duty. Some of you may be wondering, does all the fluid spill out on you when you unscrew this thing? And I gotta say, no, it does not. The only amount of fluid that comes out on you is what was sort of just held in that little space between the filter housing and the filter. So it's not like it's gushing hydraulic fluid. I know in my Ditch Witch, when you change the hydraulic fluid, it's just like pouring hydraulic fluid out. But this one, it's obviously got a check valve in the housing, so that's something to note. For any of you that want to know or need to know, the filter goes in this way. So the housing actually came off and the filter stayed on the housing, so it just obviously goes on and pushes up onto it like that. So this is what we're actually replacing, and this is the new one. So part number, it's got a couple part numbers, but P3.052001, and then this number here is 15394. I want to say 700. This one I had to get from the dealer. Here's another part number here for you guys if you need it. Just pause it on that if you need. So this I was only able to find at the dealer. I can't find a suitable aftermarket one. There was one Baldwin filter, but I can't get it. But anyway, that's the filter. So in the service manual it does say to replace this O-ring right here, but I mean I'm looking at it here and it's in excellent condition. Like, it's got nothing wrong with it. So I'm just going to clean it up. I'm going to put some of this stuff I use a lot, silicone lubricating grease. It's like a food grade. It's good for O-rings, just to keep them, you know, going in smooth. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on, and I'll just use this O-ring because the filter did not come with the new O-ring. So if you wanted to, you could order this O-ring as well. So let's get that back in. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys, there's what the housing looks like from underneath. So see that little sort of knob sticking down? I'm going to stick the filter right on the end of that. I put a little bit of hydraulic fluid just on that right there. So I'm just going to put that on now. So you can see there the filter just sort of hangs from there just by friction, and then I'm going to put the housing right over top and we're going to screw it in. Just to keep in mind, 36 millimeter, and I did need to use this sort of breaker bar. It's like an 18-inch long bar to get it loose. I couldn't just use my short 1 foot long wrench, so just keep that in mind. It doesn't give any specs for tightening it down, but I guess just use common sense. It's a pretty fine thread, so it's not going to like screw itself out, but just snug it down. Okay guys, so I just installed the new filter, the high pressure filter. So it should go on with no resistance. Like, you should be able to screw it in by hand up until it's about one thread from being bottomed out, and then you just get your wrench on it, and even with the wrench should be very gentle going in. You basically don't want to be crushing that filter if it's not in position properly. So anyway, that's in place. Everything's torqued down nice. Again, I don't know the spec, but just use common sense. I use that breaker bar to tighten it down, and I just gave it just a little torque down. So I'm just going to go through the bleeding of the hydraulic system. I'm just going to read it right from the book, just so there's no issue with it. But basically, at the end of the day, you just want to start the machine up, and you're trying to get the air out of the lines to avoid inadvertent movements when you're using it. So you want to make sure there's oil in the reservoir. So this is how you check your hydraulic oil. For any of you that don't know, you unscrew this breather here. You got your 2 lines, min max, and you put it in without screwing it in and check the level. You'll obviously want to be between the 2 marks, the high and the low. Close that. And I'm not going to do it right now because I'm actually making a video of changing the fluid in the reservoir. So that'll be another video in this series. I'm actually doing it today though. So to bleed the hydraulic system, so check the oil in the hydraulic reservoir, add oil if necessary, start the engine, let the machine run at idling speed for a few minutes. Fully extend and retract the piston rods of all hydraulic cylinders. So that means everything on it. Boom up, boom down. Turn the steering wheel repeatedly to either side until the steering system works correctly and without any sound. So this machine steers with a piston, this one right here. So you're obviously bleeding the air out of that one. Check the oil in the, so shut the machine off, check the oil in the reservoir again, and make sure it stays between the marks. You may lose a little bit of fluid because obviously we took some out when we changed the high pressure filter. So that's all there is to replacing that high pressure filter. It has to be done at 500 hours according to the manual. And so yeah, stay tuned for the next video in the series under the WL32 playlist on my channel for replacing the oil in this hydraulic reservoir here at 500 hours.